What is happening, ladies and gentlemen of League Zero? It's been a long-ass time since I've been able to say that on this podcast, and welcome to this post-season episode of The Countdown. I am, of course, the, former Production Head Acrinator, and now Commissioner by the time this comes out. That should be common knowledge. I know most people aren't going to read like 10 paragraphs into dividing thing, but eventually the news will get out there through word of mouth or Twitter. Either which way, I'm joined by 5 out of 6 of the Countdown hosts from this past season. Unfortunately, Peripheral could not make it. I think school or work or something. I don't know what he does in his free time, but he's not here. So, yeah. The games these past few weekends, the grand finals. Let's change the transition so it's not scuffed, as if it wasn't scuffed to begin with. That's the entire identity of this show. So the games, I think it's just easiest to start with Novice and work our way up. So Rio versus Wisdom. Wisdom going for their second championship. Would have been the second brand. No, sorry. Would have been the only brand ever to get that second championship, because there's been multiple two-time players, but no brandings with that. Unfortunately, couldn't get that second star on the logo. So, well, I guess we have a few people relevant to that game, not just Corbs here, but Corbs, you want to give a little bit of a rundown on that? I think you casted that one too, right?
Yes, I actually did cast that one. And long story short, Rio finished maps compared to Wisdom not finishing maps. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's like, I know it sucks going for the two-peat, I guess you can say, and just falling short. But honestly, props to Wisdom for even getting there in the first place, because it was, I'll be honest, the team just impressed me. And also, by the way, Nyx is not a Smurf. Just getting that out there. But
chamber.
I mean, you're never going to convince Rio of that. The amount of salt.
I know. I'm never going to convince Rio.
I told you that was going to happen too. I told you.
I knew it.
Rio at this point is like a fucking right-wing social media platform, just a full-ass echo chamber, dude. I swear to God, I see the shit that Intel and all the other people are putting in the admin chat. And I'm like, are they stupid? Are they actually dumb?
Long story short, they're stupid, but they're a good stupid.
They're confident in their stupidity.
Exactly.
I gotta say this. Like, props to Rio for winning. Like, they really, like, compared to how they looked versus WA in, like, the first game of the playoffs, right? And, like, the difference is, like, they won those close maps this time, right? Like, the first two maps could have gone either way, and they made some crazy plays and finished out the maps and just did well. I gotta say, I'm actually really happy to see Trigger Happy get a championship, because he was really good at Exodus and Flux, and he's always been a solid guy. And he was on what other team was he on? Wasn't he on bench?
Yes.
Oh God.
Trigger Happy, I only remember him from Horizon League, and he was on the worst team ever created, Trigonometric.
Oh,
God.
I think he was on.
We don't wait. Hey, don't talk about that.
I think he was on.
That's the past. It's the past. It's the past.
Dark Ages for the Corbs era.
Yes, very dark ages.
In the end, like, if Rio was like triple blocking, like heading up to the finals, then they
according to what Rocket told me, they just scrimmed pretty much every day, and like they did like a double block twice. I think I got a little embellished. But that being said, like, they, like, frankly, Jeff, me and you both know they scrimmed more than y'all did the last 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, burnout was real. But like I said, I don't want to, like, they played like super well. They finished maps. Like, I don't want to talk about it because I'm way too close to Wisdom. And it's not salt. It's just I'm gonna be super biased about the whole thing. But yeah, no, they played really well. They deserve it. Like, they played really well.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good ending to the brand, because, like, I'm not planning to bring it back, even if there is another season. Like, Marsupial's, I think, pretty much done with League Zero at this point.
Such.
I mean,
all right. Hey, honestly, it was a pretty good run. What, you all got 2 championships? Is that right?
I mean, Mob got 1, and then WA got 1, and then WA went to all 3 the championship game every season they participated.
Pog. But yeah, so honestly, it was a good season for Novice. There was definitely some games that didn't go as expected. Week 3, Geo versus Rio comes to mind. And like, I do not know how Geo was able to win that game. They literally lost every single map, and Rio has won every single map going into that game. But honestly, this season was great. It was super fun to watch, and even though yes, there were 4 teams, all 4 teams had, in my opinion, had a chance to actually do damage in the playoffs as well. So. I mean, Geo kind of they kind of slumped towards the end, but like if they got clicking, they could have been good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in the analyst chat after they beat Rio. Do you remember, Corbs, when they was like,
yes,
when they were on the
good.
Geo hype train, and I was like, can y'all beat someone else before you start like freaking out, please? And then they didn't beat anyone else.
That's so true.
Every division this year was a 1 and 2 seed final, right?
I think so.
Hold on. Let me
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
Tenacity was 1 seed in Double Capital 2, and then Axolotl and Powerhouse 1 and 2 respectively as well.
I mean, obviously, four teams will,
Yeah,
and the 2 seed won 2 of the 3 divisions. The only number 1 seed to win was Powerhouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, GG's this season. Might try and return for a third season for podcast host. So stay tuned.
Well, I'll get to that at the very end.
Countdown is
Logistical issues that I'll get to at the very end, right? So anyways, right, yeah, as we said, Rio played really well. I don't want to undersell Wisdom, though. Honestly, it was a really close game. It felt like it could have gone to a map 7 right up until the last map happened, and I was like, oh, this is ending here. Because Rio tasted blood in the water, but otherwise, yeah. Mm-hmm. Great series to watch, even though I was watching it on the side while working on one of like my 5 checklists that I currently have for commissioner stuff. But yeah, no honorable mentions. Ironically enough, literally everyone was unanimous in saying that TIE Fighter was the player of the match.
Bro, so I mean, after that TP bomb, I feel like
he pretty much, and I mean this with he turned those last a lot of those points, like, and especially Hollywood. I think he hit like a 3K that sealed Hollywood as well. Like, by far, dude was just sealing up the match left and right.
Yeah, I mean, mad props to him too. He coming from the team that shall not be named to eventual League Zero champion. That's huge.
Wait, what was the team that shall not be? I don't know.
Something Horizon League. Yeah.
Something Horizon.
Oh, he was on. He was on.
Yep, he was on that team. He was on that team.
Oh, I thought you were.
Lost his heart.
Did you also run functional Corbs?
Not necessarily. Silent Sword just brought me on randomly out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, okay. So
basically, any team that Corb's involved with doesn't win. Got it. Except
true.
We don't talk about season 2.
We don't talk about season 2. Pending one trick wonders.
That shit haunts me to this day. But anyways.
Bro, you want to talk about an actual Smurf rage. Season 2, bro.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that, okay?
All the Smurf rage was Cry's Overwatch. Thank you very much.
Dude, Akra, imagine if you tried to require Stormy back then to play the 20 games.
Bro, if I could strangle one person in real life. Not kidding. Sort of. Mostly.
Colby.
No, honestly.
Hattori Hanzo!
No.
Oh, God.
We knew about her from the beginning. At least that she would belong to Novice. That was pretty obvious. But that's a story for another time. Long story short, we think Stormy was a shared account between a few people that ironically got banned for completely unrelated reasons, which, if it's true, would be funny.
Shun detailed that in the big doc he wrote about it.
Did he? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. He talked about the shared account. It was like a shared account between Colby and someone else.
It's like Colby, Grim, and Noir, I think.
Wait, did Grim get banned?
It might not have been Grim. I always get him mixed up.
Which Grim? Which Grim?
I don't know.
The one that was on CDC in season 2.
I think. Anyways.
I was like, because the only Grim I know is Suki.
No, not that one. No, that's a different one. I think at that time he was still going by Lindlar.
True.
Well, yeah. Anyways, intermediate. That was one hell of a game. I remember watching it, and it was so good that I had to stop everything else that I was doing just to watch it, because it was so damn good. Like, it kept going back and forth. I don't think there was at any point where a team was like that far ahead.
I would agree.
It wasn't quite like back and forth, but it was basically that.
one of the closer League Zero finals
Yeah.
ever. Like definitely one of the more exciting league. Like
I
everything
think-
was insane.
For finals since I've been here, it's that and then last season's novice finals for me.
That's true. That game was a banger.
Because last season's novice finals, you want to talk about back and forth. Like they traded leads like almost every other map. Until WA just won out Busan. The infamous not subbing Rim back in for Prince Sexu on Busan.
But anyways, yeah. Enter finals. Honestly, that game was just too fun to watch. Like I was, like even though I was at work, I did watch the VOD afterwards, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what did I miss? It was awesome.
Yeah. So
No, it was. I mean, who was the player of the match? Sorry, like
So-
who ended up being-
this one I was shocked by, but honorable mentions was Silvertall's, and player of the match was Pongo. I feel
Honestly,
like
that makes sense.
I actually that makes sense to me because when you watch that game, like the pressure Pongo put on like the snipers and just like he was everywhere, and
Well,
then
Pongo's-
Silvertall is like that clip of them on Gibraltar just pocketing Katagiri.
yeah.
It's just insane, really.
Personally, I was shocked
Well,
that Frozen didn't get an honorable mention because he like popped off those last couple
Frozen-
maps.
Yeah,
Frozen was playoffs MVP up until that moment, and everyone knew it, though, right? Like,
I mean, without Frozen, they lose to Exodus. Like they just lose. Like he comes back, kills those four, and like they're not in the grand finals the same way they are now. If Frozen's not there.
hmm Yeah, Frozen was just a huge difference maker for Double Cap just all season. Like, even though who got MVP? Was it Ravioli? Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ravioli.
Ravioli.
Yeah, Ravioli. Yeah, honestly, Frozen looked better than Ravioli too. So
He was
mad
shutting him
props-
down a lot.
Exactly.
The
That was the
problem-
key. That's the key to winning that
The
because
problem-
What's
no,
up?
DC looked awful. Like, it looked pretty bad at the beginning of the season. Like, not awful. Sorry.
Yeah,
Awful.
yeah.
I don't think if they like me and you went back and forth about this on intermediate countdown a lot. I don't think they look bad. I just think that they just look like they didn't have everyone there.
Yeah, I guess, but even then, like, it's hard to MVP a guy if, like, I don't want to get crazy into that, but like, I do understand why Ravioli got it over him, like, just because
Well, also,
Tenacity
Tenacity was so dominant
So-
till Exodus.
was so consistent, yeah, like just so
Like they
consistent.
were just the most dominant force in the league during the regular season, but like as soon as they played that Exodus game, even though like you could say, oh, they had Rav and Flex support for that game, right? Something was off about the team as a whole, and
Well, Dizzy wasn't there either at the end, so
I mean Dizzy though was like inconsistent showing up anyway because of Asian parent diff.
Yeah, he had to worry about school, and they knew about that at the beginning of the season. So I think they picked up Epic Shock with the intent that he was going to be the closer.
Yeah, and Epic Shock, I found it so funny because he was like, I really just didn't want to play, but here I am now. I was like, yeah, welcome. And so it's just funny. I like the entire season was interesting, and I'm glad my bracket was correct. The only game I got wrong was I had Mortal Wombat making top 3.
You got close.
I got very close. I had to put in some bias there.
Of
You
course.
know, so we got top 4. Beat MI6. Even though they didn't have a real main tank, it's fine.
I will say that I did mention this during the draft that I thought Pongo would be the best main tank, and I feel happy that I was correct on that prediction. Yeah, he was just good. I mean, he hit GM literally just like yesterday, so
I think
like the skill has been there without a doubt. I really think I feel like he didn't have perfect confidence going into the season
Well,
because
also-
SR went down. He was kind of boomed a little bit, I'm pretty sure.
we talked about it in
yeah.
the first countdown, right, Jeff? Like, also like none of the other intermediate teams wanted to draft him because he didn't like respond to anyone's advice. He didn't talk to anyone. Like
He doesn't do that. That's just how he is. He's
yeah, but
not
like a lot of us didn't know that. I mean, even Rancher said that he had to DM him and be like, "Yo, if I draft you, you're actually gonna play?" Because a lot of people thought he was just egoing intermediate and wanted to play in advanced.
I heard he didn't want to play in advance. He just went to the pugs. I'm
I think
surprised.
there's
The
probably-
thing is, I'm surprised no one picked him up in advanced either. Because, like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say who specifically, but there's some backups in advanced that I think were like arguably worse than him. I think he would have been at the very minimum a high end star or low end starter in
I
advanced.
don't know, but I don't know who he would start over because I think Eevee for Goofy Goobers. like,
I
if-
would have said who Goofy Goobers had originally. I believe they had someone before Eevee.
yeah, they had
Owners.
owners.
Yeah, he would have started over owners in my opinion, but that's about it.
And obviously, I'm biased. I will say about Eevee because Eevee is like the main tank for Marsupial's 4.2k team. Like,
Marsupial.
yeah, bro. Which is how they came to get to GG because of Raja and Phone, who are also on that team.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, honestly, that GG did not sign Balake. If I'm not gonna lie, because I saw Balake had a pre-FA form, and Balake is like a 4.4 like Zen bat player. That's on there.
We'll discuss advanced later.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's everything for intermediate. So
Oh,
advanced.
shout out to MI6 really quick for having the season they did with a roster that none of the 6 teams before them had it. Like, I think it's really impressive that they were.
I just want to continue to bring this up about MI6. People said that there would be a team good enough of undrafted people that they'd be top 4. Wasn't Papega, but MI6.
MI6 technically didn't make top 4.
Oh well, did they not? I thought they did.
No,
Top
because
5,
they
I
had
think.
to. They were top 6.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean a playoff. Well, more or less just a good team. They were a good team.
They were like no, they truly like. If a few things roll differently, like it's a different game, different era.
I just find it funny people were shitting on the regular teams and then fucking like held Papega at like a super high pedestal saying, oh, this team's gonna roll everyone, and they won.
I remember when in our preseason power rankings, I'm the only one that had MI6 in the top 6 at all.
Yeah. I mean, MI6, that was a team full of people a lot of people just didn't consider that good, and they kind of banded together and was like, yeah, let's fuck this league up, and then they kind of did that. Like, they were good. I watched a couple of their games. They were good for a good amount of the season.
I agree. I think like they were a bit one-dimensional because they couldn't really play ball or monkey comps that well, but they still were able to win. Like, I also think that this season is a perfect example of like teams overthinking their compositions. Like, and I honestly saw that a lot in Novice personally, of people trying to like play like the ball, play like this Orisa Diva. Like, no, you don't have to do that. You can just literally like how Rio and WA did, just play the classic brawl. If you do it well, like you'll win. Like, we're not owl level here. You don't have to play those like kind of like higher echelon
skill
of comps.
Yes.
I think
Like-
I think it was like Baz in season 2, where I'd asked him like, why does Flushed play all these wacky ass comps? And he's like, look, unless your contender's trials, just play your win conditions better and you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why Platinum SR tier 786 is playing ball comps. Ball comps are some of the hardest comps to play
To really
in the game.
execute. Yeah.
It's better to just play rush or just play what you're comfortable with. In my opinion, some people may disagree with me on this, but plat, diamond, gold, all that level of like team play, you can run just about anything. I mean, fucking my team in Horizon League, we fucking one-trick brawl until the championship game and won like all of our games. It's not hard.
I mean, that's literally what Powerhouse did. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
This is like I tuned into Powerhouse and I was like, are they just playing?
yeah,
Minecraft?
the entire season they were basically just like, yeah, we're gonna play Brawl, and they played Brawl, and then they won it, and just didn't lose. So
I mean, like if you have good tempo, like when I coached WA last season, Like I remember, like the whole thing with Geo versus WA last season was like Geo played like ball comps and stuff, and we played 6-man a lot, and we still won because like 90% of the time you can make 6-man work or brawl because Rush is just dumb. It's Ooga Booga hold W key.
Literally the simplest comp to play in the game.
I will say that I think like Rush has like nuance once you get to a higher level, but it's so easy to teach because the concept is an easy concept.
Yeah,
What-
100%.
But once you get past the concept part, it becomes difficult because you're teaching like the ins and outs of like when to engage, when to disengage. Like there's timing and like things you have to identify, right? But when you explain, like when I explain ball comps in a macro sense, like to people, I remember I did a whole talk on it for Mortal Wombat when we were learning it, and I was like, and it sounded like to me it sounded like I was speaking a foreign language at points because like you're just talking about like the engages, like when not to slam, when to slam, how you're disrupting, like it's just a whole different animal of concepts versus the concept of you just run at them.
Yep, pretty much. Worth noting. Of course, the people watching this have been seeing it for a while now, but player of the match, who gets the finals MVP, deservingly so, is Azali, aka Peter. Honorable
Is
mentions.
this Peter's first or second championship?
Second. He won in Go Again in Season 0, so he's the only player in League's history to not only win 2 championships, but to also have both of those championships completely undefeated throughout the season.
That's awesome, dude. Congrats to
Damn,
Peter,
good for
dude.
him.
And honorable mentions go out to Speed, who was much memed in Twitch chat by, I have to assume, Jaybird's friends, because they were just hyping him up every single time that he did anything. Like, oh, Jaybird's not in spawn, he's he's so good. And then Jason gets the other one. But yeah, Twitch chat was...
Jason!
Woo! Pixel skips.
I remember
It's
that.
so funny to think about him as a DPS player for MI6 and Flux, and now he's like a 4.3 support player.
No, he hit 4.4. He hit 4.4.
Did he hit 4.4?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
2 seasons
right
ago.
now.
I wanted to say 4.5, but I
I don't
am
think he's
not
hit that yet.
No,
I-
I think it's
he's definitely hit 4.4 though. I'm 100% sure of that.
Didn't he play tank at 1.2?
He has played everything. He's played for my teams like 3 different iterations and has played like every single role.
Well, I mean, it worked. He was pretty consistently subbed in.
I'm sure
over top
Navino has heard
Yeah.
plenty about him in my teams.
Bro, I swear, if you, what are they called again?
Chimp Club. Woo!
Yeah, never again. Like I see that branding RMM, I swear to God, I will ban it on site.
We had we had a fun time last time where we had the ringer roulette for our DPS. We had a lot of surprise guests. We had Aquamarine one time, Lock the Widow, kind of rolled it. That's fun. I should do that again.
So you put, like, the infamous Junkrat one trick on Widow.
We had him on Junkrat the first 2 maps, and we're rolling. So we said,
that's
"Fuck
different.
it, throw him on the Widow." It's in the montage I made. I have a.
I want you to know this, actually. Like, Chimp Club was, like, infamous in GGNA for toxicity.
Oh yeah,
I
we're
can
like,
see it.
oh well, I'm not allowed to mention that, but you know who I'm gonna be talking about, Acri.
I
Yeah,
don't.
we were basically that level. You know the thing from the other day, certain team,
Just
I
DM
can think
it
of
to
a
him.
few teams.
Just DM it to
one
him, bro.
from.
Season 2
Okay, no, from this season.
from this. I can
You know
think
what,
of like
I'll
3
just
separate
DM it to
teams.
I'll just DM it to you.
But like, I remember. I think the funniest one was like when I had a team DMing me about how Chimp Club, like, team killed them, went to the point, and then stepped off the point. Continue the game.
That was on
Like-
that was on
like-
King's Row, and I'm just like, guys, can we finish this up? They're like, no, we want to do this for a second.
And they literally like stepped off and then killed them as they came back from spawn. I remember DMing RMM just going, What the actual fuck?
I remember I told them, okay, guys, don't do this, or I'm gonna get a weekly DM from Navino saying how we've been very naughty.
It is true. I have like a whenever RMM's team come to GG, I have like a running DM history with them.
Yeah.
I also
And
remember
every time it's like, yeah, I'll get it fixed.
I remember one of your players got really mad at me because I told him to shut the fuck up in the middle of a stream
that was
game.
from the playoff thing.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I literally, because he was just complaining in match chat, and I said, shut the fuck up before I just ban you for being annoying.
Anyways, so the actual game, which happened as of recording this last night, it's rather fun, kind of interesting. It felt, outside of map 1, it felt kind of one-sided to Powerhouse.
Yeah,
like, Axolotl put
Powerhouse.
up a good fight, but Powerhouse just had that, like, extra boost to win.
Yeah, it was kind of the theme of the whole season where it felt like every time Powerhouse did something, they kind of just got value. Like every ult they were using, every rotation they were doing, like it was planned. Everyone was on the same page. Like they just looked like a really strong team. And anytime Axolotl's like, "Hey, let's try to engage first. Let's go in with our ults," they would just be like, "All right, back up." And then what do you know? They're coming back in with their own ults. So it was a great season for Axolotl. They had so many close matches, but I think they just kind of ran out of gas. They weren't ready for what Powerhouse was pulling out there.
Yeah, definitely. I forget if I said it or someone else did, and I just agreed with it, but someone said right around the time of All-Stars that like the entirety of Powerhouse could have been nominated for most clutch, and it would have made sense.
For sure. Like that team all the way through, their bench players are still nuts. Like that draft from OPM was just so well planned.
Was
And
this
it's
the
wild
only...
to me that people like let them get away with it.
Yeah.
Was this the only advanced game that wasn't a reverse sweep as well? Like
In the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's funny. I didn't even realize that.
It was kind of. Well, I guess. Oh wait, no, because the Powerhouse Axolotl first game was also a reverse sweep, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, like
Oh my
everything was up until this
Oh,
point.
God.
Yep, because they had OPM off tank, and then they swapped over to Boreal off tank.
I remember that. That was
and
hilarious.
Boreal just like played his heart out on Diva. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, low key, Boreal can literally play any DPS in the game that's not a hit. Well, that's not a hit scan excluding Tracer, like to a top tier level. It's
He's
stupid.
very good.
He is very, very good.
Boreal,
so-
Boreal or whatever.
Yeah, Boreal was insane.
Yeah, he's very good. Very good.
And then also, how'd they get away with getting both Marquis and Jason for a flex support?
I believe Marquis was late in pugs. I think most people didn't have him on their list.
Also,
really.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think a lot of the other flex supports in the league were bad.
That's
Oh,
true.
no,
That's true.
Flex
It's a
Support was
competitive
probably the
category.
Oh yeah, no,
strongest
Lupical on Goobers.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
fun.
he was still pretty good.
Lupical's
Just like
nasty.
No,
Yeah,
and that's what
Lupical's
like I
insane.
mentioned earlier. I was surprised they didn't get Balake, but when I asked Raja and Vone if they were going to sign Balake after they signed Eevee, Raja was like, "Lupical is just like not like they're good enough. I do not feel like me getting Balake would really upgrade us that much, if at all."
Pickle, in my opinion, kind of was basically a role star level. I think all flex supports in the league were.
Yeah. For sure.
flex support was the most stacked position this year, and
Same
I
as
also
last season.
same with off tank as
tank.
well. Off tank was phenomenal. Like EOC, I Toasty Toast, X Runner winning the MVP. And then who was it for Hope's Peak?
Dashy.
Wasn't Dashy? Yeah, I remember Dashy's debut.
Dashy was good in pugs.
Yeah, that was-
I liked him when I went to the pugs. I thought he was really, really solid.
Even in the season, Dashy was really good.
Yeah.
I think Hope's
Yeah,
kind of got.
Yeah, I
scheduled,
remember
but-
Hope. I remember I was casting the Hope's Peak versus Goober game with Acri. Remember that map 5 and Dashy just ate 3 blizzards on King's Row.
Oh yeah, he just wouldn't
yeah, that was
stop.
insane.
Yeah,
yeah.
really.
So-
Like at a certain
and then
point.
also my favorite thing was they put Pixel Master on May.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that
It
was
did pretty
awesome.
well. Like Pixel
Yeah,
looked
he
pretty good on the
did.
day.
Isn't Pixel a support player?
Yes,
Flex
he is
support.
a
Yeah, he is.
flex support. He is about 4.1, 4.2, I'd say.
He was on. Was he on like Runback or something? Or am I who am I thinking of? That was on Runback.
He's played on my team before too. He was on Helios for Ignition, very briefly, or well, not very briefly. That team was just brief in general, but I believe he was on. Are you talking about last season of Toker?
Yeah.
I believe he was on Run Back. Yeah, I want to say Permafrost, but to be completely
Wasn't
honest,
though.
I don't remember much about that season. For Toker, because of reasons everyone, the chess club something.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That was the only thing I really understood from that season, I'll be honest with you. I just knew that Functional sucked and Chess Club did a thing.
Hey, Chess Club ended up being okay for
That's true.
last season of Toker when we became Gods of Inter.
And then
True.
you died in fucking first round.
Then you go
Smile.
3-point
No.
run lift.
Hey, 2 map 5s. We lost like 2 map 5s in a row. Also, still never played a map for us outside of when I locked ball versus Reddit Lucio's. We ran Ryan Ball versus Reddit Lucio's and won a map. It was quite comical.
Mm-hmm.
Did the funny.
Low-key,
So anyways.
Ryan Ball actually slaps. Low-key.
Stop. Look at the Mortal Wombat playoff game and Mortal Wombat
Okay, cancel that.
Let's
So
move on.
anyway,
Go.
since I have no idea, you're moving over to Toker Talk now, and did I even do that? Shoot, what was it called?
I think they row
row
rundown
recap.
or something. Row recap,
Something
yeah.
like that.
Is this our Toker draft recap? Is that what we're
I don't
doing?
even know.
I was
Either
a
way,
first round pick in Toker. I am very proud of myself. I'm very good at the game.
I remember when
Wait,
Toker was
I am
literally
on
just
your
a
team,
joke.
and I am very happy.
Yeah, I'm just simply the best. It's hard to explain just how utterly good I am at this video game.
Anyways,
Exactly. I'm not going to get playtime.
so I think we've exhausted all of that stuff. So yeah, good games, good grand finals. It's been a little while since I've done this, but good return for what is potentially the last countdown. And I think now I should get into explaining, because obviously I'm the commissioner. I said it at the very beginning now. So the countdown was obviously my brainchild back in season 1. Ironically, it came from the format of a podcast I used to run way long ago, like back in college, from like 2017 to 2019, I think. So like the entire idea was mine from like way back in the day, and I'm certainly not going to force that onto anyone for whoever takes over production from here on out. I have no idea who's staying and going. Right now, ironically, the only person I know on staff who is staying for a fact is RMM. Everyone else, I know a few people are leaving. I'm not going to spoil those yet. Outside of dividing, obviously, I don't think that one's a spoiler. And then
I'm everyone's favorite corrupt staff member. I take bribes and everything.
not the worst
True.
we've had.
True.
I have horror stories from back in the day.
That should be your next brainchild podcast: horror stories from League Zero.
Man, there was a very brief period. Fun fact: when dividing, it was right after week 2 of the playoffs. It was like that Monday after the advanced game. So like later that week is when we got announcements from like the Overwatch League and like the Overwatch team saying like Owl's gonna be played on a beta version, like all this hopeful news. So like literally I was sleepless for like 2 full nights because I'm like, oh shit, I think I'm the only person left. Because like as soon as Dividing posted his thing, everyone in staff was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, oh no. And so that was a fun couple days of torment before Owl News came out, and everyone's like, oh, hey, maybe. So, stressful time, more hopeful now than ever. I have a good amount of ideas for what's going to happen, at least until the end of the year. As for, like, next season of, like, Draft League season, I have no clue at this moment in time. It's really going to depend on when Overwatch 2 comes out, right? Because if it's coming out supposedly around like the anniversary, the 6th year anniversary, which will be like late May, I don't think we can fit another season of Overwatch 1 in prior to that. But if it comes out that it's like, oh, we're gonna, Owl's gonna be on Overwatch 2, but the game itself is gonna be public like in, I don't know, like July, then we could possibly fit one in. It depends on how people are feeling in general, because right now I don't know, like if we tried to do another season right now, I don't know if we'd have enough people to fill more than like maybe 10 teams. That's my fear, at least. So at the very least, for now, I'd like to do smaller, like pre-made tournaments, heavily heavy preference given to teams with League Zero veterans. So basically just like come in, chill, maybe we do like a gimmick. It would literally be like show up for one weekend, play a couple of games and have fun in like this small little bracket just to keep people occupied and focus more on like the community stuff. But as for like podcasts, like I said, I think Ride Coast might be staying on. I'm not putting that on him nor anyone else.
The grinder.
So right now, from what I understand, Ride Coast wants to focus on like less content that's higher quality to like challenge himself more than just editing highlights, and I'm all for that. Personally, I was gonna do something similar. Ironically, before I knew that I'd be commissioner moving forward, my plan was to cut the podcast format for the countdown and have like a scripted show with different segments for like interviews, like a scripted recap that would be like semi-comical, but that's just kind of thrown out the window because I'm not going to have time for that. It would be a disservice to the entire community if I were to focus on the smaller details now that I have to worry about everything in a broader sense. So with that being said, the closing that I'm trying to get to here is that I'm very appreciative of all 5 of you and Peripheral, who unfortunately couldn't make it for this recording, for being honestly really great hosts. The podcast was an ever-changing thing from season to season. Honestly, I don't think there was 2 seasons in a row that it felt so similar outside of the fact that it was a podcast. So yeah, I am very appreciative of you all. You can ask Grape and Pooter from back in the day how hard it is for me to take something like this that was my brainchild and like let someone else host it and have that much control over it. It's not easy because I like to have control over a lot of things. If you couldn't tell. So thank you all, and if you have any final sign-offs as potentially the last round of podcast hosts, I'll give it up to you. I guess we can just go down the line. Asdo, you have any final statements?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really want to add is just a big shout out to anyone we had on the Advanced podcast. I mean, in general, I did not have a bad experience with any single person in DMs, during the podcast, like whatsoever. Anytime I was asking for people to come on, they were very respectful. They would answer as soon as they possibly could with yes or no's, and then they would try to work with me working on schedules. RMM canceled on me like 90 times, and they were very flexible with their schedules.
Procrastination. Champion.
Even when he did show up, he couldn't get the audio right.
Exactly. It's just a nightmare. But in general, like anyone we had on and all the players that were able to make it, like just big shout out to them. They made it a lot easier for us to kind of put on what we could do to our best. So big shout out to the players there.
Jeff, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to everyone, especially DC, who was a bottom half team, like held up by a thin pole of ego. Like, really insane that the thin pole of ego stood the whole season like crazy. Like, they were a good team.
Nev, you got anything? I know you have something, but what do you got?
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
You're
talking
talking
about marsupial again?
Huh?
We're gonna talk about marsupial. Sorry, I don't want to steal your time. Go, Nev.
I mean, I kind of already said everything. Fuck y'all.
Wow.
Okay. Corbs, you got anything?
But bye. That's really it.
I mean, everyone. Honestly, Countdown was fun this year. Thank goodness no health issues came up, which thank goodness. But yeah, I was glad I was able to do a full season through Countdown, even though I did it season 2. Thanks, Grape. And yeah, honestly, it was a great experience, I'm sure. And Peripheral was a great co-host as well, so shout out to him, and shout out to all of every single one of the players who decided to be my guest and who were all awesome. They gave great opinions on making me understand the novice community better. And honestly, y'all were all amazing. you all had very different personalities, and it was just a great overall thing to be a part of. So thank you.
RMM, you got anything to say, or is your audio gonna cut out?
got him.
Don't bring it up. You're gonna jinx
It
it.
happened like 3 times. Okay.
Okay, Acri forced me to switch to OBS instead of using Streamlabs like last season, so I'm gonna blame the audio issues on him.
It's
not
the same
myself.
overlay and stuff. Like, I
No,
don't.
it is, but it's a different program, you know. But
Streamlabs bad.
I wanna use this time to put out a challenge. Ranter, come meet me. Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm gonna fist fight you. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I'm not even joking. Like, this isn't a joke. This isn't a joke. I'm not trying to be funny. I am literally going to kick Ranter's ass. I swear to God.
Why?
I feel like it. I feel like it. I'm trying to I'm stirring the pot, man.
My money's on Ranter, honestly.
My money's
Oh
on
my
Rancher.
God.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
but you think I'm just gonna have audio issues or something? My ears are just gonna just.
Yes, honestly.
I think your
Damn.
fingers are just gonna disappear.
That's tough.
And you're just gonna have
Your
some,
face-
some nuts.
He's gonna hit you in the eardrum, and
Oh,
then
God.
you're just gonna go like in and out of audio.
No.
It's gonna
Ranter's
box
gonna be
your
trying to
ears.
punch you, and you're gonna be in the middle of a D2 raid.
Okay. Well,
Unfortunate.
Ranter, you heard him. Raleigh, North Carolina. I don't think we need to get more specific than that. I don't think RMM wants to dox himself. So, either which way, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sticking with this podcast. Again, this very likely is going to be the last episode ever. So hope you enjoyed. Although I will have a slight challenge to the community because while the podcast, the quote official podcast, is going away, I would like to see more community podcasts. Back in like seasons 2 and 3 in particular, there were a lot that were propping up. In season 1, it really started with like Schaffler Sit Down, and then kind of went on from there. I think Stewie tried to bring back Schaffler Sit Down for like 3
He
weeks.
gave up after like 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's not
He
easy producing a
plummeted.
podcast.
Mickey Mouse Countdown. Mickey Mouse Countdown. I'm claiming it.
True.
Mickey Mouse
Basically, yeah,
Countdown.
but like if you want your voice to be heard in this community, the best way that I found is to just like force it out there, right? That's literally what I did. Season 0, I was not anyone significant other than just like an active member in Dividing's
what Grape
original
did.
compute. What?
He did that every season. He made his voice heard in
Grape? Oh yeah, Grape. Yeah.
differing ways.
Yeah.
Well, we don't talk about season 1 Grape because I'm sure he'd love to forget about that. But yeah, like if you want to see something cool in this community, the best way to get that done is to just do it yourself. That's literally what I did. Like that's what a lot of people in season 0 did, and I think that's what carries on the drive for me at least, and I hope a lot of other people who actually do these really cool things by themselves, and that's why we like that's the original reason why we have the community showcase, because some people are just making these ridiculously cool montages and like their own podcasts with really insightful discussions. So I hope that continues, despite the fact that I'm not going to be able to like carry that torch in that sense. You know, I gotta look over like the greater the big picture here. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for hosting. That's all we've got. So until next time, which will hopefully not be too long, don't die.
Thank you.